Hey y'all! I am so excited for this week because this week I get to talk about one of my favorite books. I just finished reading it. It's called The Blue Zones of Happiness by Dan Buettner. I hope I didn't butcher his name, but I learned so much reading this book, and I am hoping to at least instill a little bit of what I've learned to make it so that you want to go and read it, because he explains it so much better than I can, and he breaks it down so much better than I do. But he outlines what we can do in our life and in our home and our communities to make it so that we can find that sustainable happiness. Now, in our communities, we don't always have control over that, but he does encourage us to get more active in our communities in the book because of the fact that that can lead to greater happiness. When you start from the outside in, it's actually a lot easier. So you start with your community, and then then you go to your home and feng shui your home. I'm going to use the word feng shui. He doesn't say that. He actually talks about things that you can do in your home, like creating a room without any TV or any electronics allowed, which I love that idea. Or there's another thing where he talked about making sure there's lots of sunlight in your home. That's always been something that I've looked for, but I didn't realize how important it really is. Or like making sure you have woods nearby so that your kids can go and play. That is so very important, or so that you can go out and spend time in nature, because spending time in nature is actually something that makes you happier. I didn't know if you know that, so now you do. And then for ourselves, I'm going to go a little bit more into detail with that. But first, there are 3 different types of happiness, okay? There's purpose, pride, and pleasure. And I forgot one of those earlier, so that's why I have it open. You're welcome. But it's so cool. You have to go and read the book to understand like what each one is and what it means fully, and how you can apply it into your life, because that's the other cool thing, is that he gives us exact things that we can do to apply each of these, not techniques, but each of these happinesses into our life. So if we have more of a sense of pride, then he gives us things that we can do to implement that. If we have more of a more pleasure happiness, then he gives us something we can do to help with that and to help increase that. Or he gives us things that we can do for purpose-driven people. So there is something for every single person in this book. That's what I love so much about that. So one of the things that I want to talk about, this is the main thing I want to talk about from this book, because it is my absolute favorite, because it's for myself. And I have more control over what I do than I have over my community or my home, because I have to confer with my husband on a lot of stuff. Because if it were up to me, I'd be a minimalist. I'm not going to lie. A lot of stuff would be thrown out. But I digress. So this is a little diagram of what he goes over. And I'm going to I'm going to briefly touch on each point, because I really want you to read the book. I really want you to read the book. But these are the 9 things that we can do as individuals that will help us to find greater happiness, and we can build from there. This is our everyday thing, that if we were to do these 9 things, we would find sustainable happiness. 1 is to love someone, but not just love anyone. You have to find someone where you can go through everything together. You have an interest with them. You don't, believe it or not, this is something I learned from the book, if you live with someone first, you're more likely to get divorced. I did not realize that. And so I was like, that's kind of an intriguing fact, because everyone's like, oh, you should live with them before you marry them. And so I love the fact that my church teaches us not to do that, because of the fact that now it's proven that I am more likely to have happiness if I don't do that. So I love that. But make sure it's somebody that you can live with forever. Make sure you date around, and that you are asking the right questions, finding out the right details, making sure there's someone who's attentive and loving and willing to help you and support you and build you up and help you to be a better person, as well as you for them. Okay, it has to be a 2-way street. It can't just be one person doing everything. So number 2 is to have at least 3 friends that you can rely on. If something goes on that you need to talk to somebody, you need at least 3 people you can turn to. I can tell you right now, my 3 people are family. So I probably need to branch out a little bit, but my 3 people are my dad, my older sisters, so I'm going to count them as 1, and my husband. Because if something goes bad, I either talk to one of the three of them, and it's usually all three of them, because if something happens with my marriage, I always end up coming back and talking to my husband in the end. And then if there's something that happens with each individual, I fully believe that you should go and talk it out and work it out as adults, or you can't talk about it. So if you don't ever plan on conversing about it, then don't talk about it to anybody else. I fully believe that's the best way to have any relationship. Anyways, so 3 inner circle people, 3 people that you can rely on no matter what. Number 3 is get out of your house. You need to find a group of people that are interested in the same things you are. You need to find a group that want to crochet, want to have like a book club, a running club, have a group that you can hear my child outside yelling? You're welcome. You need to find a club that, like a parenting, like a mom club. That would be amazing. I would love that one. But you can find anything that you want online. Facebook is amazing for this. He also gives a website you can look for, or that you can look at to help you to find people with similar interests so you can hang out in groups. Also, be aware, though, that these groups should not be anything larger than about 10 people max. Because when you go over 10 people, you're no longer getting that reward, and it becomes more work than it really needs to be. Number 4, become more likable. I think there are some people who are naturally born where they are just super charismatic and they are just naturally, friendly with everybody. And some people, like me, like myself, we have to work on it. And so I have found books to read. I have found people that are super kind and willing to be open with me and make it so that it's not awkward for me to ask questions, because I can be kind of awkward, I can be kind of blunt, and I can do a lot of things that are social abnormalities, I guess is the best way to put that. But I have a really cool sister who helps me with that one as well, because she is super nice about like how I taught, super nice about explaining all of these things to me, so I don't feel awkward. Sorry. So I don't feel awkward or just I'm able to go into a relationship or a friendship feeling more prepared, because unlike some people who just naturally make friends, I actually have to work on it. So I love that. Being more likable is something that's attainable for everybody. Number 5, move naturally. And what he means by that is exercise. Any form of exercise. If you exercise for 30 minutes a day already, you're awesome, because you are doing everything you need to with that one already, which means that you're on your way to being happier and having sustaining happiness. And I love that. Number 6 is look forward. So make goals. Find ways to prepare for the future, because whenever you just go throughout life willy-nilly, it makes it really hard for you to prepare for anything. And so if you have goals and you're able to at least work for these goals, then it's not as big of a deal, and you're prepared for what's ahead of you instead. And I like that. I like that brings you happiness, because I am a goal setter and I am a planner, and I'm like, yes, this is something I can do. Number 7 is to sleep. Yes. Is to sleep 7+. So if you do not get the proper amount of sleep a day, then you're not going to be happy, because happy people are well rested. And just like people can be hangry, they can be, I'm not even going to make up a word for that one, slangry? I'm sorry, baby. You okay? Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. Can you go jump? Yeah. Okay. Go on. Sorry about that. But so you need to have at least 7 hours of sleep. 7.5, really. I'm sorry. What? Oh, okay. Go play, okay? I have no idea what you said there. So make sure you're sleeping well and that you're sleeping enough. I know for new moms this is really hard, but you can take naps throughout the day, and that can kind of fill out. If you can't take naps throughout the day, I would highly suggest when your husband gets home to just kind of tap out for a little bit and be like, dude, can you take over just a little bit? I need to have some sleep now so I can catch up with sleep later. Or even just try to catch up with sleep whenever your baby's older. That's what I do. My husband and I are really good about teaming up on that stuff, but there are certain things where I feel that it just has to wait, and that's okay. So like if you're at a phase in your life where I am, where I can sleep more now, at least aim for 7.5 hours. Your body needs it so you can be happier. Lesson number 8, shape surroundings. So in other words, set up your home, your workplace, your finances, social network, and inner life to favor happiness. There's so many things that we can do, so many ways that we can overcome, so many ways that we can plan and set things up so that way our life, our surroundings help to also build that happiness and to encourage that happiness. He talks a lot about the fact that social interaction is something that's needed. Being around people, family, being around your family increases your happiness. Being around friends increases happiness. Like there is one country that he talks about that they spend a lot of time around their family, and it's been proven that it brings them more happiness because of the fact that they spend so much time around their family. There's another country that spends more time working, and they love that working, and that's something that brings them happiness. So whatever brings you happiness, do it, and make your surroundings reflect that kind of thing. And then the last one, number 9, is the right community. A lot of us, I know whenever we were looking for houses, we didn't really look into what the community was like. But when we move again, because we most likely will, when we move again, I fully plan on looking into the communities, making sure they have places for me to run, making sure that there are more things around me that my children can do so I can get them outside more, making sure that I find a community that's going to have a group for me where I can get together with other people. I could possibly have dinners with them. We can come together weekly. We can, find ways to build relationships where we can find more happiness because we find value. I can speak, I promise. We find value in relationships. We find that brings happiness to everybody. It's something that's worldly. Like everybody finds happiness in relationships. In every country that he spoke of, he always talked about how they had either a lot of friends around them. There was one country where they lived in little communities, and they had combined all the different cultures together, and you got together nightly. Every night you had a communal dinner. And I thought that was so cool, where you had all these different cultures and you're coming together and you're living as one, essentially. There is complete unity there whenever you do that. You don't have the opportunity to really find something that's wrong with people a lot of times when you're getting to know them fully. And the other thing he mentions that I really, really like and that I really value is that he talks about needing to trust your government and your community and those that are around you. So you need to build trust with those around you as well, because that is something that's vital for happiness. To have happiness, we need to have a good social network, trust, and there was something else that he mentioned. Hold please. But you need to have 3 basic things and then go from there. And the 9 things after that are just things that you can do in your life that help to build those 3 basic things. Let's see. Man, I lost it. Oh well, but I know for sure it's trust and social interaction. Like make sure you're being social. And then, sorry, my children are outside playing and I can see them out the window. Just want to make sure they're not doing anything they're not supposed to. So those 2 things, and there's one more that I can't remember right now. But probably exercise, because he talked about exercise a lot. But those 3 things are things that are necessary for everyday happiness. So whenever you go and look for happiness, make sure you're looking for happiness in the right places. And make sure you check out this book because it is amazing and you will not regret it. You will read it super quickly because it's one of those that you just can't put down. You're like, man, this is so good because it's something that everyone wants and everyone craves. And happiness is something that is attainable. It's just something that we have to want so badly that we're not going to give up on it. And so I hope you guys have a great week. And thank you so much for listening to this review. If you like it, give a thumbs up and share and subscribe. And if you don't and you know someone who might, go ahead and share it anyways. I hope you guys have a good week. Bye.